What happens when Washington blocks a major trade move and the political battle only gets bigger? After the United States House of Representatives shuts down a controversial tariff proposal targeting Canada, Donald Trump fires back, turning what looked like a setback into a high-stakes showdown over America's economic future. Is this a policy defeat or the beginning of an even bigger political fight? Stay with us, because this story could reshape U.S.-Canada relations and redefine the trade debate heading into a critical election season. Welcome to USA Latest Update, your trusted source for breaking political news, powerful analysis, and the stories shaping America's future. From Capitol Hill decisions to major global developments, we bring you the facts, the context, and the impact, all in one place. If you want real updates without the noise, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's big story. The rejected proposal sought to impose new tariffs on selected goods imported from Canada, a move supporters argued would protect American industries and reduce trade imbalances. However, lawmakers in the United States House of Representatives pushed back, with critics warning that the policy could disrupt supply chains, raise consumer prices, and strain relations with one of America's closest allies. The vote highlighted not only partisan divisions, but also fractures within party lines, signaling that trade policy remains a complex and sometimes controversial issue. Trump, never one to let a political defeat define the narrative, quickly responded. He framed the House's decision as an example of Washington insiders blocking policies designed to protect American workers. In public statements and campaign-style messaging, he emphasized that tough trade measures are central to what he calls an America First economic strategy. According to Trump and his allies, tariffs are not simply punitive tools, but leverage. Tools to secure better trade terms and ensure that U.S. industries are not undercut by foreign competition. Supporters argue that Canada, despite being a close partner, has benefited from trade arrangements that have not always favored American manufacturers. They point to sectors such as lumber, dairy, and certain industrial goods as areas where they believe American producers face disadvantages. For them, the tariff proposal represented an attempt to rebalance the scales and send a message that the United States is prepared to act decisively in defense of domestic economic interests. Opponents, however, see the situation differently. They argue that the U.S. and Canada share one of the largest and most integrated trading relationships in the world. Billions of dollars in goods cross the border daily, supporting millions of jobs in both countries. From automotive manufacturing to agriculture and energy, the economic ties run deep. Lawmakers who voted against the tariffs expressed concern that even targeted measures could trigger retaliatory actions, creating a ripple effect that would ultimately hurt American consumers and businesses. The debate also underscores a broader political reality. Trade policy has become a powerful campaign issue. Trump has long used trade disputes to rally his base, portraying himself as a leader willing to challenge the status quo and confront what he describes as unfair practices. By characterizing the House vote as a roadblock, he positions himself as an outsider fighting entrenched interests, an approach that has proven effective in energizing supporters in the past. Political analysts suggest that this episode may serve as a catalyst rather than a setback. Instead of retreating, Trump could amplify the issue in rallies, interviews, and digital platforms, turning the failed tariff vote into a symbol of broader political resistance against his agenda. In an election-driven environment, such narratives can shape public perception just as much as legislative outcomes. There is also the international dimension to consider. Canada has so far maintained a measured tone, signaling its preference for stability and cooperation. The two countries are not only economic partners, but also defense and diplomatic allies. Escalating trade tensions could complicate collaboration on issues ranging from border security to global policy initiatives. For that reason, many policymakers advocate dialogue over confrontation. Economic experts remain divided. Some argue that strategic tariffs, if carefully designed and temporary, can strengthen domestic industries and encourage negotiations. Others warn that tariffs often function as hidden taxes on consumers, increasing costs for businesses that rely on imported components. The interconnected nature of modern supply chains means that even limited trade barriers can have unintended consequences. Within Congress, the vote revealed nuanced perspectives. Not all opposition came from one party alone, suggesting that economic pragmatism and regional interests influenced lawmakers' decisions. Representatives from border states and regions heavily reliant on cross-border trade were particularly attentive to potential impacts on local economies. For Trump, the path forward may involve recalibrating the proposal or seeking executive avenues to pursue similar objectives. He has historically demonstrated a willingness to explore multiple strategies to achieve policy goals, particularly in trade matters. Whether through negotiations, public pressure, or alternative legislative approaches, it is likely that the issue will remain active in political discourse. At its core, the controversy reflects a fundamental question facing American voters. Should the United States adopt a more assertive trade posture, even with close allies, if it believes domestic industries are at risk? Or should it prioritize stable partnerships and multilateral cooperation to ensure long-term economic growth? The answer depends not only on economic data, but also on political philosophy and voter sentiment. As the situation unfolds, attention will remain fixed on Washington. Will lawmakers revisit the tariff proposal in revised form? Will negotiations between U.S. and Canadian officials ease tensions? Or will this moment become another chapter in an ongoing debate about globalization, sovereignty, and economic nationalism? What is clear is that the rejection of the Canada tariffs has not ended the conversation. It has intensified it. Trump's response signals that he intends to keep trade policy front and center, framing it as a defining issue for the future direction of the country. In the high-stakes world of American politics, even a legislative defeat can become a rallying cry. The coming weeks will reveal whether this effort to counter the setback gains traction or fades amid competing headlines. But one thing is certain: when it comes to trade, power, and political momentum, the story is far from over. Thank you for watching USA Latest Update. If you found this report informative and valuable, make sure to hit that like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to USA Latest Update for the latest political news and breaking updates from across America. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an important story. Stay informed, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next update.